There is a moment that arrives in the life of every awakening soul when the world stops being random. It is not a dramatic moment. It does not announce itself with thunder or ceremony. It arrives quietly, in the space between one breath and the next, in the sudden recognition that the number on the clock, the song that just came on, the stranger who said exactly the right thing, none of it was accidental. Something is communicating with you. Something vast and intelligent and deeply personal is leaving you messages in the fabric of your daily life, and for the first time, you are beginning to understand the language. This is what it means to have undergone a timeline shift. A timeline shift is the internal realignment of your frequency, your personal energetic signature, with a higher, more abundant version of reality. It is not something that happens to you from the outside. It is something that unfolds from within, a quiet revolution of consciousness in which you stop experiencing yourself as a subject of reality and begin to recognize yourself as its co-creator. And once this shift has occurred, once you have crossed the invisible threshold between the old timeline of struggle and limitation and the new timeline of flow and abundance, the universe begins to communicate with you in an entirely different way. In the old timeline, life felt largely silent. You sent your prayers and your wishes out into the void and waited, sometimes for years, for a response that rarely came in the form you expected. In the new timeline, the silence breaks. The universe becomes conversational. It speaks to you through numbers, through animals, through the timing of events, through the sudden knowing that arrives in your body before your mind has had a chance to process it. This is the language of light, a multi-dimensional form of communication that operates through frequency, symbol, and direct knowing. It is the primary language of the 5D reality, and learning to read it is one of the most transformative skills you will ever develop. What is the language of light? The language of light is not a spoken or written language in the traditional sense. It does not operate through grammar or syntax. It operates through resonance. When a symbol, a number, a creature, or a coincidence carries a specific frequency that matches the frequency of your current state or question, your soul recognizes it, not through logic, but through feeling. There is a quality of recognition that is unmistakable once you have experienced it. A sense of yes, that is for me, that bypasses the analytical mind entirely. In the lower timelines, we were trained to dismiss this recognition. We were taught that meaningful coincidences were statistical flukes, that the feeling of being guided was wishful thinking, and that the only reliable source of information was the rational mind. This training served the old paradigm well, because a mind that trusts only logic is a mind that remains anchored in the 3D reality of cause and effect, effort and reward, scarcity and struggle. In the highest timeline, you realize that the rational mind is a remarkable tool, but it is not the only tool. And it is certainly not the most sophisticated one. Your intuition, your body's felt sense, your emotional responses, and your capacity for symbolic recognition are all forms of intelligence that operate at a frequency the rational mind cannot access. The language of light speaks directly to these deeper intelligences. It bypasses the filter of the analytical mind and delivers its information straight to the heart. Where numbers in the old timeline were quantities and values, in the new timeline they are frequencies and alignments. Animals, once biological organisms, are now messengers of specific energies. Geometry, once mathematical shapes, reveals blueprints of universal creation. Dreams, once subconscious processing, are now multidimensional travel and downloads. Every element of your experience becomes a potential carrier of meaning, a potential message from the field of infinite intelligence that surrounds and permeates your life. Angel numbers, the most visible language of the new timeline. Of all the ways in which the language of light manifests, angel numbers are perhaps the most widely recognized and the most immediately accessible. Angel numbers are repeating numerical sequences that appear in your daily life with a frequency and precision that cannot be explained by chance. You see them on clocks, on license plates, on receipts, on the number of notifications on your phone, on the page number of the book you happen to open. They are everywhere once you begin to notice them, and their appearance is always meaningful. The number 111 is one of the most powerful and commonly reported angel numbers in the context of a timeline shift. When you see 111, you are receiving a direct confirmation that your thoughts are in alignment with your highest frequency. It is the universe's way of saying, what you are thinking right now is creating your reality. It is a call to awareness, an invitation to pay attention to the quality of your thoughts in this moment, because they are actively shaping the world around you. If you see 111 and your thoughts are filled with gratitude and possibility, you are broadcasting a signal of abundance. If your thoughts are filled with fear or doubt, 111 is a gentle nudge to redirect. The number 222 carries the energy of balance, partnership, and divine confirmation. When 222 appears, it is a message that you are exactly where you need to be. The path is clear. The timing is right. Trust the process. This number often appears during periods of uncertainty or waiting, when you are tempted to force an outcome or abandon a direction that has not yet produced visible results. 222 asks you to hold steady, to trust the unseen architecture of your highest timeline, and to know that what is being built for you is being built with precision and care. The number 333 is the number of creative activation and divine support. It is the signature of the ascended masters, the great teachers and guides who have walked the path of conscious evolution before you. When 333 appears, you are being reminded that you are not alone in your journey. You are surrounded by wisdom, by love, and by the accumulated intelligence of every soul who has ever chosen to evolve. This number often appears when you are on the verge of a creative breakthrough or a significant decision. It is an encouragement to move forward with confidence. The number 444 is perhaps the most grounding and stabilizing of all the angel numbers. It is the frequency of divine protection, of structural support, of the universe's assurance that the foundation beneath your feet is solid. When 444 appears, you are being told that you are safe, that the shift you have undergone is real, that the new timeline you are inhabiting is stable and supported. This number often appears during moments of doubt or fear, as a direct counter to the old timeline's whispers of instability and lack. The number 555 signals change, transformation, and the acceleration of your evolution. It is the number of the quantum leap, the frequency of the doorway opening. When 555 appears, something significant is shifting in your external world to match the internal shift you have already undergone. A new opportunity is arriving. A relationship is transforming. A chapter is closing to make way for one that is more aligned with your highest self. Do not resist the change that 555 announces. It is the universe delivering on the promise of your new timeline. And the number 888 is the frequency of infinite abundance, of financial flow, of the material world reorganizing itself to reflect your elevated consciousness. When 888 appears, you are receiving a direct message that prosperity is not only possible for you, it is already in motion. The mechanisms of your new timeline are working. The flow of abundance is opening. Your only job is to stay in the frequency of the one who has already received. Intuitive symbols. the personalized language of your soul. Beyond numbers, the language of light speaks through a rich vocabulary of intuitive symbols that are personalized specifically for you. These symbols are drawn from the natural world, from the realm of dreams, from the patterns of geometry, and from the synchronistic timing of events. They are not universal in the sense that every symbol means the same thing to every person. They are universal in the sense that every awakened soul has access to them. But their specific meaning is revealed through your own intuition, through the felt sense of recognition that arises when a symbol appears. Animals are among the most powerful and commonly encountered intuitive symbols. In the highest timeline, animals are not merely biological organisms. They are messengers of specific energies, carrying information from the natural world to the awakened soul. The hawk brings the message of higher perspective, a reminder to rise above the details of your current situation and see the larger pattern. The butterfly signals transformation, a confirmation that the metamorphosis you are undergoing is real and that the new form you are emerging into is more beautiful than you can yet imagine. The deer invites you into a state of gentleness and grace, a reminder that your greatest power lies not in force, but in sensitivity and presence. The owl is a messenger of hidden knowledge, a sign that information is available to you that is not yet visible on the surface. The eagle brings the energy of freedom and vision, a call to claim the full scope of your potential. The hummingbird carries the frequency of joy and lightness, a reminder that the highest timeline is not a serious or effortful place, but a place of delight and wonder. Pay attention to the animals that appear in your life with unusual frequency or in unusual circumstances. They are not random. They are the universe speaking to you in a language that predates words. Geometric patterns are another form of intuitive symbol. You may find yourself drawn to the spiral, which represents the journey of evolution. The way in which growth moves not in a straight line, but in an ever-expanding circle. You may be drawn to the flower of life, a sacred geometric pattern that encodes the fundamental structure of creation. You may notice that certain shapes appear in your dreams, in the patterns of nature, or in the art that calls to you. These are not decorative. They are blueprints of universal intelligence, and your soul recognizes them at a level that the conscious mind is only beginning to access. Energetic discernment, feeling the frequency of your world. One of the most significant developments that occurs after a timeline shift is the refinement of your capacity for energetic discernment. In the old timeline, you evaluated the world primarily through logic and judgment, through an assessment of facts, probabilities, and past experiences. In the highest timeline, you begin to sense the world through resonance. You feel the frequency of a person, a place, an opportunity, or a decision before your logical mind has had a chance to analyze it. This is not a mystical ability reserved for a select few. It is a natural capacity of the human nervous system that has been suppressed by the demands of the 3D reality. When you are operating in survival mode, when your primary concern is managing threat and securing resources, your nervous system is tuned to detect danger, not resonance. But as your frequency elevates and your sense of safety deepens, your nervous system begins to relax into a more expansive mode of perception. You become capable of detecting subtleties that were previously invisible to you. You may find that you can walk into a room and immediately sense whether the energy is nourishing or draining. You may feel a physical sensation, a lightness in your chest, a warmth in your hands, a sense of expansion. When you are in the presence of someone who is vibrating at a compatible frequency. Conversely, you may feel a subtle contraction, a heaviness, or a sense of unease in the presence of someone or something that is not aligned with your new timeline. These sensations are not judgments. They are information. They are your body's way of communicating what your mind cannot yet articulate. This energetic discernment extends to decisions as well. In the highest timeline, you learn to make decisions not from the head, but from the heart. When you are considering a path, an opportunity, or a relationship, the question is not what is the logical choice, but what feels like expansion. The heart's guidance is often subtle. A feeling of lightness, a sense of ease, a quiet yes that does not need to justify itself. By following the heart's guidance, you ensure that you remain on the path of least resistance and greatest joy. Telepathic connection and sound alchemy. The deeper dimensions of communication. As your frequency continues to elevate, you may begin to notice the emergence of capacities that the old timeline would have classified as extraordinary. One of the most common is what might be called telepathic connection, a deep, soul-to-soul communication that occurs through the heart rather than through words. You may find that you know what someone is feeling or thinking before they have said a word. You may find that you and a close friend or partner arrive at the same realization simultaneously, without having discussed it. You may find that your intentions reach people before your words do, that the energy you hold towards someone is felt by them even across great distances. This is not a supernatural phenomenon. It is the natural result of operating at a frequency where the boundaries between individual consciousness begin to soften. In the highest timeline, you realize that separation is an illusion of the lower dimensions. At the level of frequency, all consciousness is interconnected. When you hold a clear, loving intention toward another person, that intention travels through the field of shared consciousness and is received by them at the level of their own soul, regardless of physical distance. Sound is another dimension of the language of light that deserves specific attention. You may find that you are drawn to specific frequencies of music, chanting, or even the sounds of nature. These sounds are vibrational medicines that help to recalibrate your nervous system and align your frequency with your highest timeline. Certain tones or melodies have the power to unlock old memories, dissolve emotional blocks, or activate new levels of creativity and joy. The 432 Hz frequency, often called the frequency of nature, has a deeply grounding and harmonizing effect on the nervous system. The 528 Hz frequency, known as the love frequency, is associated with healing and transformation. By using sound intentionally, whether through music, toning, chanting, or simply spending time in nature where the sounds are unfiltered and alive, you are taking an active role in the maintenance of your highest frequency. Practical daily rituals. Learning to read the language of light. The language of light is not something you study. It is something you practice. The following rituals are designed to help you open your channels of reception, to quiet the noise of the analytical mind, and to develop the sensitivity and trust that allow the universe's communication to reach you clearly and consistently. The symbol log. Each morning, before the day's activity begins, take a few minutes to sit quietly and notice what symbols, images, or impressions arise in your awareness. You do not need to interpret them immediately. Simply record them. In a journal, on your phone, or in any format that feels natural. Over time, patterns will emerge. You will begin to see which symbols appear before periods of positive change, which appear as warnings, and which appear as simple confirmations of your alignment. This log becomes a personal dictionary of your soul's language. The number practice. When you notice an angel number, pause. Do not simply register it and move on. Take a breath, place your hand on your heart, and ask, what is the message for me right now? Then listen, not with your ears, but with your body. Notice what feeling arises, what thought surfaces, what sense of knowing emerges. The answer may not come in words. It may come as a sensation of relief, a sudden clarity, a feeling of being seen and supported. Trust whatever arises. The universe is not speaking to your mind, it is speaking to your soul. The animal encounter meditation. When an animal appears in your life in a way that feels significant, whether in physical reality or in a dream, take time to sit with its energy. Research its traditional symbolic meaning as a starting point, but then go deeper. Ask the animal, in your imagination, what message it carries for you specifically. You may be surprised by the clarity and specificity of what arises. This practice deepens your connection to the natural world and expands your capacity for symbolic communication. The silence practice. The language of light is most clearly received in stillness. Dedicate at least 10 minutes each day to complete silence. No music, no podcasts, no scrolling. Simply sit, breathe, and allow. In this space, the universe has room to speak. You may receive an image, a word, a feeling, a sudden knowing. You may receive nothing at all, and that too is a form of communication. A reminder that you are safe in the silence, that you do not need to be constantly receiving to be constantly supported. The sound alignment. Once a day, choose a piece of music, a natural soundscape, or a toning practice that feels deeply resonant to you. Give it your full attention. Do not use it as background noise. Sit with it, breathe with it, and allow it to move through your body. Notice where you feel it most strongly. Notice what emotions or memories or visions arise. This is your nervous system being recalibrated by the frequency of sound, and it is one of the most powerful and accessible tools available to you for maintaining your alignment with the highest timeline. Empowering conclusion. You are fluent in a language you never forgot. The language of light is not a new language. It is your native tongue. It is the language your soul has always spoken, the language of the universe itself, the frequency of love and intelligence that underlies all of creation. What the timeline shift has done is not teach you something new. It has removed the interference, the static of fear, the noise of scarcity, the distortion of the old timeline. That was preventing you from hearing what has always been there. You are not learning to communicate with the universe. You are remembering that you never stopped. Every synchronicity you have ever experienced, every moment of inexplicable knowing, every time a song said exactly what you needed to hear. These were not accidents. They were the universe, speaking to you in the language of light, waiting patiently for you to be ready to listen. You are ready now. The channel is open. The signal is clear, and the universe has a great deal to say. Trust the numbers. Trust the animals. Trust the symbols. Trust the felt sense in your body that knows the truth before your mind has had a chance to catch up. You are fluent in the most ancient and most powerful language in existence, and the conversation you are now having with the universe is one that will guide you, confirm you, and celebrate you every single day of your highest, most abundant timeline. Affirmation. I am open to the messages of the universe. I trust the signs, the symbols, and the synchronicities that appear in my life. I am fluent in the language of light, and I know that the universe is always speaking to me, always guiding me, and always celebrating my arrival in the highest timeline. I listen. I receive. I trust.